Welcome, welcome. You're listening to the Drink a Little podcast, where we talk about exploring the world of wine and spirits while not letting it take over your life. My name is Kelly Doherty. I'm a joyful child of God and a certified life coach. I'm also a wine educator and wine and spirits brand designer. I'll show you how you can navigate your relationship with alcohol and how that mindset spills over into the rest of your life. And we'll learn about the world of wine and spirits together, all while bolstering your confidence that you can have boundaries around alcohol and live your most amazing life. So, this is episode 1, Light and Balanced. And how this works is we do a little tasting at the top of the episode. And that wine will lead us into a discussion on how you can choose to live a mindful and balanced life with or without alcohol. The expression of each wine is unique, and so then is the expression of each episode. And today we're going to taste this Louis Jadot Beaujolais-Villages. We'll taste from all over the world, and this one is from Beaujolais, France. Disclaimer that I will butcher pronunciations throughout this podcast, but know that my intention is not to offend, yet sometimes the pronunciation fails me. So the area we're talking about here today is Beaujolais. It's a controlled geographical area in France, and it's connected, somewhat overlapping the southern part of Burgundy. So if you've heard of the city of Lyon, is a gastronomically beautiful city. The Beaujolais is very close, 20 miles from Lyon. And the main black grape from this area has had a fascinating history of being somewhat maligned or even put down by the French aristocracy in history. It's the Gamay grape in most Beaujolais, in all Beaujolais, and it grows very vigorously, almost like a bush. And this high yield grape in the late 14th century was banned for about 60 years by Philippe the Bold, a Duke of Burgundy. He thought the land could be used for more elegant grapes like Pinot Noir, let's say, and it didn't last, but the reputation of Pinot Noir as a grape for the aristocracy and the Gamay as a grape of the peasant or the serf is a large part of the area's history. Now, today, producers of Gamay grapes in Beaujolais will carefully prune to try to rein in the overgrowth of this variety. And when they create a smaller crop with pruning, what's going to happen is you're going to get more concentrated flavors and most likely end up with a more complex wine. And so this area is pretty large. And so it has definite quality classifications based on the area. And that's what you'll see on the label. So I wanted to share those levels of classification. So the largest one is Beaujolais AOC. It's in the south. It's the lightest bodied wines, very fresh, meant to be consumed immediately. You may have heard of Beaujolais Nouveau. These wines are released on the third Thursday of November, and they're a quick turnaround. They're harvested in September, processed in October, and released in November. So they're fun and super simple wines, and that is the base level classification. And then there is Beaujolais-Villages, so that's what we'll be tasting today. That's the mid-level classification. And they're going to come from the hilly northern part of the region. Still, I think, very reasonably priced for a high-quality light red. And depending on the blend, if you get some grapes in there from the higher end villages to blend in, they can become more intense wines. And this is all still that same Gamay grape variety. The classification is just coming from different vineyards and different villages. And then the highest level classification are the crus, C-R-U-S. They're individual villages that are designated as crus. And here on the label, you may or may not see the word Beaujolais, but the name of the actual village is on the label. And these are coming from very steep granite slopes. And that seems counterintuitive because the granite soils are not providing much in the way of nutrients. But what it does is it actually helps to tame the potential overgrowth of these vigorous vines. These wines end up being age-worthy and much more complex. So we're right in the middle here with Beaujolais-Village, and we've got it in the glass. Let's give it a little swirl and a taste. I did chill this for maybe 20 minutes just to see if that worked with its freshness level. And this Louis Jadot does actually get some grapes from the higher classified 10 famed Beaujolais cru villages. So it probably has a little more color than some of the super early drinking Beaujolais, and it spent more time on the skins, but it still doesn't have any real tannins to speak of. It's high acidity, light bodied, and it does fit in with the typical Beaujolais profile. This one is, this is gorgeous with really ripe raspberry, black cherry, has a little bit of spice, maybe cinnamon, very fruit forward. And what I love about this wine is it's not trying to be pretentious. It's very drinkable, very approachable. And I think sometimes when you look at some of these very traditional old world labels, that might not be your impression. So look beyond the label. But I wanted to start the podcast with this wine because I think this mid-level Beaujolais sets the tone for this podcast. It's playful and serious at the same time. It is very balanced in more than one way. So we'll be talking about wines paired with conversations about how I can help people shift their relationship with alcohol if they're over drinking in an effort to avoid things in their lives. Or I run into people that say to themselves, I'm going to drink one drink tonight, and then they don't keep that promise to themselves. So those are the things I help people work on, and it really does affect their entire lives. And alcohol is something that's very serious from a safety standpoint, from a responsibility standpoint, also from a not getting stuck in one place in one's life standpoint, making sure we're continuing to grow and reach our dreams. So I don't take any of that lightly, and it's very serious to me in the background. But I think we can talk about these things from a lighthearted perspective, from a fruity Beaujolais perspective, and have fun while bringing balance to our lives from a mindfully drinking perspective. I just don't believe people can affect change within themselves or with others from a tight or stressed out, heavy willpower deprivation type of place, because it usually involves a lot of judgment of yourself, a lot of judgment of others, and it doesn't last. So lasting change comes from when we feel free to consciously choose one little decision at a time and allowing those decisions to build on each other and grow. And I'll talk about having a plan ahead of time around drinking, how to create space where our changes build the life of our dreams, and how not to believe everything our brains offer us, which can be helpful in many parts of our lives. So not perfect, but balanced, approachable, and fun, just like a beautiful, fresh, balanced Beaujolais. So I'll have a new episode out every Tuesday. We'll taste and then we'll do a little coaching. So I'll tell you at the end of each episode which wine or which spirit we'll explore next. Like if you want to join in, pick it up, or get something similar. Obviously, with smaller boutique brands and distribution in different areas of the country and different areas of the world, we most likely don't have access to all the same products. So no worries if you want to taste along, which is totally optional. Just try something similar and make sure to share it with a friend. So next episode, we will be tasting the Director's Cut Chardonnay by Francis Ford Coppola. And you will not want to miss the screening of this Director's Cut. And if you want to take any of this to a deeper level, I do have a one-on-one coaching program where I tailor our coaching to your individual needs. We cover how to stop over drinking, how to love yourself for all the right reasons, and emotional well-being. And you can find out more at kellydoherty.com/cheers. That's KELLYDOHERTY.com/cheers. I'll see you next week.